Unsubscribe from me right now if you don't want the real fools. Let's go.
Victimhood is a hell of a job, man. They say if you're black, you have to work twice as hard. They say racism. I mean, what's the problem? Racism makes perfect sense, right? Racism makes perfect sense because your race is an extension of you. It's the people that come from your country, first of all. Those people, you have the same population descent as them. You have the same collective memory, the same history as them. So these people are essentially your extended relatives. There's you, there's your brother, there's your sister, there's your cousins, so on and so forth. But your cousins, they have the same grandparents as you, or great-grandparents as you, and you go back far enough, and you have similar ancestry, especially with people intermixing and intermarrying with each other, creating a population collapse. And all of this within the backdrop of a collective memory that is history, right? Things that have happened in the past and that bound people together in fellowship, in fealty, in love. And then you have somebody else who comes in out of nowhere, regardless of how they got there. That's the other side, the hypocrisy of it. But regardless of how they got there, they come in. You're never going to be seen the same as the way that they see each other, unless that person has A, a fixation with the foreign, B, they're actually not loved by their community, C, they don't love their community. So, A, they have a fixation with what's foreign. Some people are just that way. B, they're loners and they don't necessarily have those ties that we just talked about. Or C, they're just treacherous people. Or they have whatever, any number of fixation with the opposite, fixation with trying to go on the other side because they want to try to spite the people on their side. Whatever the reason is, a normal, healthy, thinking person is open to everybody, but ultimately is going to be more open to themselves. This is very simple. You can like your neighbors, but that doesn't mean that your neighbor gets to sit there in your kitchen in the morning eating your leftover pizza. That's not what that means, bro. And if the person comes over to your house and then you tell him, listen, bro, you can't do that, you don't get to turn around afterwards once you've been told that you can't eat the guy's pizza. That there's something wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with him. You're the problem here. You could have gotten your own pizza. Now, of course, this is the flip side. If you drag somebody into your house and force them to stay there against your will, and then you destroy everything that they knew on the outside, you kept them trapped in that house for a long time, then you owe that person a duty of care. However, what happens when successive generations have gone by and you've done the little that you could do to try to rectify the imbalance and give people opportunities, of course, not taking into account that some people might not have the same opportunity in being able to rise up to the task of making the best out of that opportunity. But still the opportunity is there. Well, should it not be incumbent upon that person to then try to seek that opportunity instead of trying to hold to ties that have since been refashioned? So now you have to work twice as hard. Yes, you do. But the fact is, if you had done your own thing, and of course, your own thing was destroyed many times over, and we understand the metrics of that. But you see, the whole point of that is that you were overpowered. You were overpowered by people. Why were you overpowered by them? You understand what I'm saying to you? At some stage, you have to take responsibility for the fact that you allowed somebody to do something to you. If we love to say that as black people, we were here first, then how did we allow people that came after us to take advantage of us? You can't always blame that person. That person is as it may be. That person is as they may be. They are who they are. You understand? And you've known this for hundreds of years. So what the hell are you complaining about? Have you not seen this movie before? You know that the person's going to make a move like that, but you'll still get up tomorrow morning because you want the pat on the head and you want to go over there and you're going to embarrass, humiliate your entire lineage just to go and get that approval. And when you get kicked out, you want to complain again. And you say, no, I don't do that. Yes, you do that. Because look at the mentalities that black people have. We don't support the black business. We laugh at the black businessman. We laugh at the person who's saying he's going to do his own thing because we don't believe in it. That is a mentality that is nowhere near as prevalent in other communities as it is in the community of black melanated people. That's just a fact of it. So you can sit there and talk about having to work twice as hard, but that's because you choose to go and play ball over there. If you played ball over here and you had fostered a community that was conducive to that kind of action, you wouldn't be having to work twice as hard because you'd be in a position to be able to give each other that benefit of the doubt that these other people, based upon their collective history together, give each other, and you wouldn't be having these problems. And you would have been able to get together by the same token and overthrow the people that were trying to incur into your land. And this is very, 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 very basic. But you have people out there that want to make it more complicated than it needs to be. And it doesn't need to be that complicated, actually. Luckily for us, we're living in an era where we're able to compose, we're able to conjugate, we're able to be together, we're able to talk to each other, we're able to communicate. And we are living in an era where people are waking up. In West Africa, as we indeed see with the AES and these other movements that are, say, in the sub-region. So we're going to see some very interesting things in the next generation, within this generation, the next generation, and generation to come. And that's what we need to be building on. But then even then within that, you see people still angling for something other than self-determination. It's like you want Ouattara in Ivory Coast. But Ouattara has made it clear that he's for the French. The French have made it clear that they don't want to let Africa go. How, by definition, could you be for the solution when you are giving yourself to the people who are giving themselves to the people that have held you down for years and years? But then you want to come and complain about having to work twice as hard. It doesn't make sense. You don't trust yourself. You have no confidence in self. So then you don't want to take the risk. You don't want to invest in yourself. You don't want to bet on yourself. You want somebody else to give you the money for that. But if they give you the money for that, don't you understand that you're going to be indebted to that person? It just stands to reason. Working twice as hard to be in the white man's world, so what? Why should you be seen equally to a white man by a white man? Just because you choose to see the white man as superior to you doesn't mean that everybody else has to be so stupid as to see somebody that doesn't look like them as superior to them. It's not even biologically viable. You seek to reproduce yourself. Survival, number one. Number two, reproduce. So the white man sees it that he must survive, and then two, he must reproduce that which looks like him, and then control everybody else so he can control their reproduction and he can eat. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, survival, well, I don't know much about that because I don't have the power to defend myself because I've outsourced that to him over there, and reproduce. And by reproduce, I don't necessarily mean just, coitally, sexually. No, I also just mean reproduce your essence, reproduce your culture, reproduce your values, reproduce your civilization. Reproduce these things. You only want to reproduce the bad aspects of these things because the bad aspects of these things are the only things that you have any control over because they're the things that are not contested. They're the things that nobody wants. You see, your land, everybody wants that, so you won't fight for it. With your bad habits and your silly little shabby culture, the backwardness of certain black people, nobody's really fighting for that. So you have that to yourself, so you keep it. It's a safe space. It's a safe space for you to hide yourself. Nobody's interested in that. So really and truly, not wanting to reproduce these things of value, comes down to coward behavior, cowardice, because you don't want to have to defend those values. You don't want to reproduce a civilization because you're going to have to defend it. And that's too much work. You're going to have to build it. You're going to have to defend it. It's easier to sit there and reproduce the ratchetness, the backwardness, reproduce the aspects of having fun, so on and so forth, because that's easy to reproduce. It doesn't come with planning, it comes with feeling. And then you can use the apparatus that other people built in order to do it. But actually having to build the apparatus itself, that's a whole different kettle of fish. That's a whole different proposition. The path of least resistance. So in outsourcing yourself to the boss, you become the employee, because the one who looks after you, the one who leads you, the one who feeds you. The one who leads you is the one who feeds you. The one who frees you is the one who can freeze you, is the one who feeds you, is the one who leads you, is the one who bleeds you. He does all of these things to you. You see, working twice as hard to impress the white man forever and ever and ever versus working 10 times as hard so that you can be free of the white man. And then all of a sudden, guess what? You won't be working twice as hard to do anything because you will have a system that is self-perpetuating. You see, it's kind of like, do you take 10,000 pounds off of this person and sign a contract with them and then end up being their slave for 10 years? Or do you work really hard for 2, maybe a year and a half, and then you're free from then on? And that's the problem with a lot of black people. They have bad time management skills, bad energy management skills, bad resource management skills, bad people management skills. It's all a question of upbringing, which for the longest time we haven't had the opportunity to cultivate, because guess what? In West Africa, for 400 years, there was warfare around the whole slave trade. So people were just working on survival mode, trying not to be the next one to get caught and turn into Bob Marley. And then those that had actually been caught, they were over there on the other side of the Atlantic, and they were on survival mode too. So you don't have the time to develop these skills. And to the extent that those skills are developed, they're developed in a very superficial way. Or they're developed in and as it serves to better you in the eyes of the dominant society for which you work. So you might become a very good organizer for a company that is mainstream, or you might become a very good fighter, very intelligent, very good tech programmer. Whatever the case may be, you might be one of those things for a company that does not benefit your community directly. And of course, there's the incentive to impress the boss, the master. That also does a lot to incite that in you, to elicit that in you. It's a psychological thing. When it comes to black people, you don't believe in the project. So you're not going to bring your best game, your A game. So that's the question right there. You won't have to work twice as hard if you were prepared to work 10 times as hard for a specific purpose. But just going and working twice as hard, to what end? Niggas been working twice as hard for centuries, my friend. Been working 3 times as hard for centuries. And then the people who are sitting there running the show, they kick back and they relax and it's nothing. And if it's anything, they just carry up their straps and they do their thing what they're supposed to do. And then you're going to sit there and cry about it afterwards because you see you allow yourself to be led by their rules when they say this is wrong, this is good. But how can the people that did wrong, when you were trying to do good, when you allowed them into your country, that took your country, how can you allow them people to give you your rules? You're the idiot for playing by those rules. Now, by all means, respect the law of any country that you're in. But as a collective, so quick to violate your own rules, you ain't got no code. But then you'll turn around in 2 seconds and then recite every single law that you can get your hands on when it comes to the mainstream and the dominant structure. Anyway, being that as it may, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, that was just a little word of encouragement. It's kind of like some motivational speaking. It's not really much of a motivational speak, but you know, just something that I had on my chest, wanted to spit it out there, get to you. So yeah, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for listening this far. If you have, I